Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks. Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Interdisciplinary and Trans-Disciplinary Studies, SOITS, other programs. Appreciation Course on Population and Sustainable Development, ACPSD. Block-1 Population, Sustainable Development and Human Development. Unit-1 Introduction to Population. 1.0 Objectives. After reading this unit, you will be able to define the terms related to population dynamics. Explain the meaning and concept of sustainable development. Define human development, and explain population and sustainability within a human rights framework. 1.1 Introduction. For studying population, one has to get into details of size, growth, distribution, and composition of the population. There are various processes through which size and composition of population change. The processes are nuptiality or marriages, reproduction or births, mortality or deaths, migration of people from one place to another, both within a country and different countries, and social mobility leading to changes in social stratification, primarily caused by changes in education, work and occupation. Size, composition and processes of population affect society and social institutions directly or through economic and environmental factors. The term size refers to the total number of people inhabiting an area. Composition refers to classification of population according to characteristics like age, sex and marital status. Some specific characteristics of population such as rural-urban location or geographical divisions are studied. Under the ages of population distribution, size, growth, composition and distribution of population are interrelated. In a territory of given size, population cannot increase indefinitely. Therefore, as we will see later, size of population determines at what rate the population would be growing. Composition of population also affects the growth of population. In turn, rate of growth affects the composition of population. Most of the rapidly growing populations are younger than the declining populations, or populations growing at a very slow pace. Rate of growth also affects the distribution directly and indirectly. One reason behind this is that all the regions and groups in a country do not grow at the same rate, while some regions and groups may grow at a fast pace, others may grow only at a slow pace or even decline, leading to spatial and social class differences in growth rate of population. In most countries, therefore, the governments are not only concerned about overall growth rate of population, but also about size, distribution and composition. 1.1.1 Population size. As said earlier, the term size refers to what is the total number of people inhabiting an area. This area may be the world as a whole, a nation, a region, a locality or a ward within a locality. The number includes both males and females and all age groups. Population density refers to number of individuals living per unit area. It is expressed as population per square kilometer. The following table gives the population in India and for different states from the 2011 census. 1.1.2 Population growth. Population growth refers to growth in human populations. Population growth rate shows percent change in population of an area and is expressed on per year basis. It is computed from quinquennial and decennial censuses of population. Suppose the population of a country is 1,345,000 in year 1991 and it has risen to 1,20619 in year 2001, then the decadal growth rate of the population is 1 to 0 6 1 9 1 0 0 3 4 5 1 0 0 3 4 5 asterisk 100 i.e. 20.0%. 1 per year basis it may be defined as 2.02% per year, average annual rate of growth. In advanced technical discussions, in place of simple growth rate, exponential growth rate is preferred. This is computed by using the following formula. Pt is equal to P0 e powers RT, where Pt refers to population at time t, Po to population at time 0, R to rate of growth and T to time. For short time it does not matter much whether you use the decadal growth rate method or exponential growth rate method. The former assumes a discrete change in population size, the latter continuous change. Table 1.2 Decadal growth rate of population in India and states. India states UT decadal growth rate, %. India 17.64. Jammu and Kashmir 23.71. Himachal Pradesh 12.81. Punjab 13.73. Chandigarh 17.10. Uttarakhand 19.17. Haryana 19.90. NCT of Delhi 20.96. Rajasthan 21.44. Uttar Pradesh 20.09. Bihar 25.07. Sikkim 12.36. Arunachal Pradesh 25.92. Nagaland -0.47. Manipur 18.65. Mizoram 22.78. Tripura 14.75. Meghalaya 27.82. Assam 16.93. West Bengal 13.93. Jharkhand 22.34. Odisha 13.97. Chhattisgarh 22.59. Madhya Pradesh 20.30. Gujarat 19.17. Daman and Diu 53.54. Dadra and Nagar Haveli 55.50. Maharashtra 15.99. Andhra Pradesh 11.10. Karnataka 15.67. Goa 8.17. Lakshadweep 6.23. Kerala 4.86. Tamil Nadu 15.60. Puducherry 27.72. Andaman and Nicobar Islands 6.68. 1.1.3 Population composition. Among various characteristics of population, age and sex composition are the most important ones. 1.1.3.1 Sex ratio. Sex composition of population is commonly studied by calculating sex ratio, which is defined as the number of females per thousand males in Indian context. Improvement in sex ratio is often seen as indicative of empowerment of women. 1.1.3.2 Child sex ratio. In India, population scientists also calculate sex ratio for age groups 0 to 6. This is known as child sex ratio. This has special significance. Low sex ratio for the age group 0 to 6 suggests that either there is practice of female feticide or there is neglect of female babies due to which they have higher mortality than males. Percentage of young, aged less than 15 years and percentage of old population, aged 65 and more are of common interest to population scientists. Increase in population of aged 65 and more leads to aging of population and it results mainly from declining fertility. Ratio of population of old to population of young multiplied by 100 or 1000 is called dependency ratio. Ratio of population aged 80 plus to population 65 plus indicates aging among the aged. Dependency ratio is closely related to labor force participation rate, which is expressed as the number of workers, including those looking for work, as a ratio of the total population. 1.1.4 Population distribution. It is a more general term than composition. It refers to any statistical classification of population according to a given characteristic. The most commonly used types of population distribution are urban-rural and spatial distribution of population. It is obtained by calculating percentage of total population living in urban areas and in different geographical regions. Percent urban is equal to urban population total population asterisk 100. Percent of population living in Odisha is equal to population of Odisha total population asterisk 100. Changes in spatial distribution of population, i.e., percent of population living in different states or regions may be caused by differential infertility or mortality, or the process of migration, movement of people from one state or region to another for education, employment, marriage, or other reasons. Population distribution, as defined above, can be compared between different countries, societies, as it makes the numbers in any category of study free from the effect of size of total population. 1 point to sustainable development. Sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. It contains within it two key concepts. Z. The concept of needs, in particular the essential needs of the world's poor, to which overriding priority should be given, and Z. The idea of limitations imposed by the state of technology and social organization on the environment's ability to meet present and future needs. All definitions of sustainable development presuppose that we see the world as a system that connects space, and a system that connects time. When you think of the world as a system over space, you grow to understand that air pollution from North America affects air quality in Asia, and that pesticides sprayed in Argentina could harm fish stocks off the coast of Australia. When you think of the world as a system over time, you start to realize that the decisions our grandparents made about how to farm the land continue to affect agricultural practice today, and the economic policies we endorse today will have an impact on urban poverty when our children are adults. We also understand that quality of life is a system, too. It's good to be physically healthy, but what if you are poor and don't have access to education? It's good to have a secure income, but what if the air in your part of the world is unclean? And it's good to have freedom of religious expression, but what if you can't feed your family? The concept of sustainable development is rooted in this sort of systemic thinking. It helps us understand ourselves and our world. The problems we face are complex and serious, and we can't address them in the same way as we created them. But we can address them. 1.3 Human development, key concepts and definitions. Human development has moved to the center of the global development debate. It is being incorporated in the development strategy of the world. Now it is in the core of the UN's International Development Strategy. Human development as a concept is broad and comprehensive, but it is guided by simple idea: people always come first. The real objective of development is to increase people's choices. Income is one aspect of these choices, and an extremely important one, but it is not the sum total of human existence. Health, education, a good physical environment, and freedom are also important. The concept of human development was largely developed by UNDP. Since 1990 The UNDP is publishing annual report known as Human Development Report, which is of immense use for students, teachers, researchers as well as policy makers. These reports are so popular that many countries and even some states of India have prepared similar reports. The National Human Development Report 2001 was prepared by Planning Commission of India. Most of the states have also prepared similar report. Human development is defined as a process of enlarging people's choices. In principle, these choices can be infinite and change over time. But at all levels of development, the three essentials are to lead long and healthy life, to acquire knowledge and to have access to the resources needed for a decent standard of living. If these choices are available, other opportunities will become accessible. However, additional choices such as political, economic, and social freedom, opportunities to be creative and productive, enjoying personal self-esteem, respect, and human rights could also be there. These choices can be met by ensuring equal and sustainable opportunities to all in the society and empowerment of people so that they participate in and benefit from development processes. The term human development refers to the process of widening people's choices and ensuring well-being. Thus, human development has two sides. Z. Formation of human capabilities such as improved health, knowledge, and skill. Z. To make use the acquired capabilities for productive purposes, leisure, and for being active in cultural, social, and political affairs. The major elements in concept of human development are productivity. People must be able to increase their productivity. People must be able to participate fully in the process of income generation and remunerative employment. Equity. People must have access to equal opportunities. All barriers to economic and political opportunities should be eliminated. People should be able to participate in and benefit from these opportunities. Sustainability. Access to opportunities must be ensured for present as well as future generations. All forms of capital, physical, human, and environmental, should be replenished. Empowerment. Development must be by people, not only for them. People must participate fully in the decisions and processes that shape their lives. Enhanced capabilities, creativity, productivity, people become effective agents of growth. Economic growth plus equitable distribution of opportunities available for present and future generation, both men and women empowered to participate in design and implementation of decisions. Human development is much broader than the conventional economic development. Economic growth is a subset of human development. Economic growth models deal with expanding GNP rather than enhancing the quality of human lives. Welfare approaches look at human beings as beneficiaries and not as agents of change in development. Human development brings together the production and distribution of commodities and the expansion and use of human capabilities. Human resource development, HRD, treats human beings as an input in production process, a means rather than an end. Basic needs approach, BNA, focuses on providing material goods and services to deprived population groups rather than enlarging human choices in all fields. Human development approach analyzes all issues in society: economic growth, trade, employment, political freedom, or cultural values from people's perspective. Thus, enlarging choices is the crux of human development, and it therefore has within its fold gender equity. Human development is impossible without gender equity. If women are excluded, lopsided development will occur because nearly one half of the population is not being accounted for. Sustainable human development implies engendering the development paradigm because human development, if not stimulated, is endangered. Some of the conclusions and policy messages of human development are: average progress in human development conceals large disparities within developing countries, between urban and rural areas, between men and women, between rich and poor. The link between economic growth and human progress is not automatic. Developing countries are not so poor to pay for human development and take care of economic growth. A significant reduction in population growth rate is absolutely essential for visible improvements in human development and vice versa. A participatory approach, including the involvement of NGOs, is crucial for any strategy for sustainable human development, as well as balanced population stabilization. 1.3.1 Measuring Human Development. The UNDP has developed a number of composite indices for measurement of human progress and deprivations. Some of these indices are: 1. Human Development Index, HDI. 2. Human Poverty Index, 1, HPI-1. 3. Gender-Related Development Index, GDI. 4. Gender Empowerment Measure, GEM. The HDI is summary measure of human development. It measures the average achievements in country in three basic dimensions of human development, namely health, knowledge and the standard of living. The indicators used in quantifying the above dimension are given below. A long and healthy life, measured by life expectancy at birth. Knowledge, measured by the adult literacy rate, with two-thirds weight. And the combined primary, secondary and tertiary gross enrollment ratio, with one-third weight. A decent standard of living, as measured by GDP per capita, PPP as dollar. The computation of HDI involves two steps. Step 1. Compute dimensional index of education, health and income. Step 2. Human Development Index is equal to one-third dimensional index of health plus dimensional index on education plus dimensional index on income. To calculate these dimension indices, the life expectancy, education and GDP indices minimum and maximum values, goalposts, are chosen for each underlying indicator. Performance in each dimension is expressed as a value between 0 and 1 by applying the following general formula. Dimension index is equal to actual value minus minimum value upon maximum value minus minimum value is equal to x1 minus xmin x max minus xmin, where x max is the maximum value, x min is the minimum value, she is the value of ith observation. The HDI is then calculated as a simple average of the dimension indices. 1.4 Contextualizing population and sustainability within a human rights framework. Several events in the past have given a roadmap to link population and the idea of sustainability with human issues, especially human development and human rights. 1.4.1 International Conference on Population and Development, ICPD, 1994 Watershed in the history of population thinking. It is only since 1994, after the International Conference on Population and Development, ICPD, at Cairo, Egypt, there has been a dramatic change in thinking on population issues. In fact, ICPD was a watershed in the history of thinking on population issues. Indeed, it would not be an exaggeration to suggest that ICPD was a sort of a new world population order. It brought about a significant shift in frameworks, strategies, and approaches relating to Population and public policy issues. ICPD delegates reached a consensus that the equality and empowerment of women is a global priority. It approached this not only from the perspective of universal human rights, but also as an essential step towards eradicating poverty and stabilizing population growth. A woman's ability to access reproductive health and rights is cornerstone of her empowerment. It is also the key to sustainable development. A total of 179 governments including India signed up to the ICPD Program of Action, which set out to provide universal access to family planning and sexual and reproductive health services and reproductive rights, deliver gender equality, empowerment of women and equal access to education for girls, address the individual, social and economic impact of urbanization and migration, support sustainable development and address environmental issues associated with population changes. The Program of Action and benchmarks added at the ICPD +5 reviews went on to inform the 8 Millennium Development Goals. The ICPD represented a quantum leap for population and development policies as it involved a paradigm shift from the earlier emphasis on population control and demography to sustainable development and recognition of the need for reproductive health, RH, and reproductive rights, RR. It became clear that population was no longer about numbers, figures, and statistics but about people and improving their quality of life. It was also agreed that no method, specific targets imposed from above, no force, no coercion, no incentives and disincentives are required because incentives and disincentives are either coercive or ultimately tend to be coercive and are in fact counterproductive. Coercion infringes upon human rights and inhibits human development. The ICPD Program of Action, POA, placed individuals in the center of development with a focus on building pillars of human development, human rights, gender equity, and equality. The central theme of the ICPD was to forge a balance between population, sustain economic growth, and sustainable development. The objective of the agreement reached at the Cairo conference was to raise the quality of life and enhance well-being and to promote human development. The Program of Action, POA, rightly emphasized the need to integrate population concern fully into development strategies and planning, taking into account the interrelationship of population issues with goals of poverty eradication, food security, adequate shelter, employment, and basic services like health and education for all. Two fundamental changes have occurred in recent times in conceptualizing and implementing population policies. First is to ensure that population policies and programs address the root cause of high fertility, such as persistent gender disparities in access to education, health, employment, and other productive resources. The second is to expand existing family welfare program beyond contraceptive delivery to include a range of reproductive health services with a greater emphasis on quality of care and individuals' right. Now the focus has become broader and holistic and different in nature. Earlier, total fertility rate, TFR, and contraceptive prevalence rate, CPR, used to be the fixation of most population programs as they also served as indicators of success. ICPD replaced them with quality of care, informed choice, gender factor, women's empowerment, and accessibility to a whole gamut of reproductive health services. In fact, the International Conference on Population and Development, ICPD, was a milestone in the history of population and development as well as the history of women's rights. It heralded a paradigm shift in the approach to population and development, placed women's equity and equality center stage, and introduced the importance of rights-based programming. 1.4 Point to National Population Policy, 2000, Conceptualization. This change in thinking, concept, and understanding naturally implied a logical change in policies and strategies. Many countries had taken steps to integrate population concerns with their development strategies. In 2000, India announced its National Population Policy, NPP, which takes its basic philosophy from ICPD POA and focuses on improving quality of life as the means to achieve population stabilization. The ICPD has been instrumental in forwarding the notion that population and development programs recognize that the concept of reproductive health care encompasses more than just family planning services. Moreover, it declares that reproductive health and reproductive rights cannot be realized without a concomitant fulfillment of women's human rights. That both sets of rights are interlinked and must be advocated in tandem, and that empowering women is crucial to successful population and development programs are ideas mainstreamed by the ICPD. The reference to reproductive health and rights within the debates on population and development that have occurred post-ICPD underscore its influence on subsequent conferences and international documents. The strength of the ICPD's reproductive health approach can also be found in the 2000 Millennium Development Declaration, which, however, pays significant attention to highlighting selective issues of reproductive health. Although the National Population Policy, NPP, 2000 doesn't explicitly talks about reproductive rights, India's commitment to ICPD Declaration and the Plan of Action, POA, indicates the willingness on part of the government to look at reproductive health from the perspective of individuals' right to access health information and services and individual decision-making based on informed choice. It is true that nowhere in the NPP there is mention of reproductive rights or human rights, but when it comes to reproductive health, the ICPD POA has clearly identified a number of areas where these rights are translated into information, education, services, and counseling in issues such as family planning, antenatal care, safe delivery, postnatal care, infertility, abortion, RTIs, STIs, including AIDS. In discussing the unmet reproductive health needs of different population, the POA recognizes vulnerable and marginalized groups as women, girls, adolescents, and elderly. Drawing from the ICPD POA, the most positive feature of the NPP is that it resolutely affirms the commitment of government towards voluntary and informed choice and consent of citizens while availing of reproductive health care services and continuation of the target-free approach in administering family planning services. These commitments for human rights and the freedom and dignity of women were translated into a non-targeted family welfare program, which rightly abjures incentives and disincentives. National Population Policy is the affirmation and articulation of India's commitment to International Conference on Population and Development, ICPD, agenda. It forms the blueprint for population and development programs in the country. It was at the Cairo conference that for the first time, a consensus was reached among many countries, including India, which was a remarkable development in many ways. The ICPD in 1994 successfully adopted a program of action, which constituted a paradigm shift in thinking and action on population issues globally. Though India is yet to fully incorporate the provisions of this convention in its domestic laws, but by virtue of the Country being a signatory to this international convention, civil society has a moral right to ask the government not to deviate from its commitment to the ICPD agenda. The National Population Policy, which was formulated and announced in February 2000, is the first ever comprehensive and holistic population policy of the country. The NPP envisages overall economic and social development as the goal to improve the quality of life of the people, to enhance their well-being and to provide them with opportunities and choices. With a comprehensive, holistic and multisectoral agenda for population stabilization. It envisions population stabilization as a function of accessible and affordable reproductive health, increased coverage and outreach of primary and secondary education, assured availability of basic amenities like sanitation, safe drinking water and housing, women empowerment with enhanced access to education and employment, and infrastructure development like roads and communication. Thus, it promotes open information, awareness, empowerment, and development-based approach and sums up population stabilization as a multisectoral endeavor. In principle, it unequivocally rejects the targets and the incentive-disincentive approaches and provides for a target-free approach. TFA. The NPP is gender-sensitive and incorporates a comprehensive holistic approach to the health and education needs of women, female adolescents, and girl child. A primary theme running through the NPP is provision of quality services and supplies and arrangement of a basket of choices, i.e., people must be free and enabled to access quality health care, make informed choice and adopt measures for fertility regulation best suited to them. The Cairo Consensus forged at the 1994 International Conference on Population and Development, ICPD, is underpinned by human rights principles. The ICPD and ICPD Plus 5 placed population, reproductive health, and gender equality in a human rights-based framework linked to human development and sustained economic growth. A human rights-based approach to programming differs from the basic needs approach in that it recognizes the existence of rights. It also reinforces capacities of duty bearers, usually governments, to respect, protect, and guarantee these rights. In a rights-based approach, every human being is recognized both as a person and as a right holder. A rights-based approach strives to secure the freedom, well-being, and dignity of all people everywhere, within the framework of essential standards and principles, duties and obligations. The rights-based approach supports mechanisms to ensure that entitlements are attained and safeguarded. Governments have 3 levels of obligation: to respect, protect, and fulfill every right. To respect a right means refraining from interfering with the enjoyment of the right. To protect the right means enacting laws that create mechanisms to prevent violation of the right by state authorities or by non-state actors. This protection is to be granted equally to all. To fulfill the right means to take active steps to put in place institutions and procedures, including the allocation of resources to enable people to enjoy the right. A rights-based approach develops the capacity of duty bearers to meet their obligations and encourages rights holders to claim their rights. Rights are indivisible, interdependent, and interrelated. The human rights-based approach focuses on those who are most vulnerable, excluded, or discriminated against. The human rights-based approach constitutes a framework of action as well as a methodological issue. This approach is also expected to achieve results, sustained progress towards respect of human rights, development, peace, security, and eradication of poverty, population stabilization with gender equity and equality, and achievement of the Millennium Development Goals. 1.4.3 Reproductive rights and reproductive health. Reproductive health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being in all matters relating to the reproductive system and to its functions and processes. It implies that people have the capability to reproduce and the freedom to decide if, when, and how often to do so. Implicit in this is the right of men and women to be informed and to have access to safe, effective, affordable, and acceptable methods of family planning of their choice, as well as other methods of their choice for regulation of fertility, which are not against the law, and the right of access to healthcare services that will enable women to go safely through pregnancy and childbirth. Reproductive health care also includes sexual health, the purpose of which is the enhancement of life and personal relations. Reproductive rights embrace certain human rights that are already recognized in national laws, international human rights documents, and other relevant UN consensus documents. These rights rest on the recognition of the basic right of all couples and individuals to decide freely and responsibly the number, spacing, and timing of their children, and to have the information and means to do so, and the right to attain the highest standard of sexual and reproductive health. They also include the right of all to make decisions concerning reproduction free of discrimination, coercion, and violence. Full attention should be given to promoting mutually respectful and equitable gender relations and particularly to meeting the educational and service needs of adolescents to enable them to deal in a positive and responsible way with their sexuality. All countries are called upon to strive to make reproductive health accessible through the primary healthcare system to all individuals of appropriate age as soon as possible and no later than 2015. Reproductive healthcare programs should be designed to serve the needs of women, including adolescents, and must involve women in the leadership, planning, decision-making, management, implementation, organization, and evaluation of services. Innovative programs must be developed to make information, counseling, and services for reproductive health accessible to adolescents and adult men. Such programs must both educate and enable men to share more equally in family planning, domestic and child-rearing responsibilities, and to accept major responsibility for the prevention of STDs. 1.5 Summary. Population growth refers to the increase in number of individuals at a given place. Population is governed by several factors such as population density, population distribution, etc. Several factors such as sex ratio, birth rate, death rate, etc. determine the population at any given place. The current unit precisely details the meanings of population growth, the causes behind, and explains what sustainable development is. Population growth and sustainable development within a human rights framework highlights the significant contributions made by ICPD 1994 and NPP 2004. It is also ascertained that the reproductive health should be guaranteed to all the women in order to produce healthy citizens for a healthy society. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates.